Once upon a time, in a village cradled by the arms of ancient hills, lived a beautiful lady named Ralia. Her heart was as vast as the sky, and her kindness a river that never ran dry. Everyone in the village admired Ralia, not just for her humble ways, but also for how she brought joy like the sunrise after a stormy night. She could make a crying baby smile and turn a cloudy day sunny just by being there. Ralia, however, nursed a silent sorrow. Her greatest wish was to hear the laughter of a child that was her own. She longed for a daughter to love, to teach, and to hold. She would often sit by a baobab tree in the village square just to watch little children play as her heart whispered for one. One day, an old woman approached her under the tree and asked, "My daughter, why do you always sit here and watch those children all day?" With a heavy heart, Ralia tearfully answered, "Mother, I have been married for years now, and I have no child to call mine." The old woman sighed and told Ralia that in the village there was an old legend about a tree deep in the forest that could make wishes come true. This was no ordinary tree. It was older than the oldest man in the village and taller than the highest hill. They called it the wishing tree. One morning, when the dew still whispered secrets to the grass, Ralia set out to find this tree. She walked under the shade of giant trees and followed the songs of birds until she stood before the grand wishing tree. The tree's leaves shimmered like 1,000 tiny stars. With a voice full of hope, Ralia spoke to the tree. "O wishing tree, hear my heart's deepest desire. I wish for a daughter. I wish for her to be beautiful, with a smile that could light up the whole village." She was so excited that she forgot to ask for one thing, for her daughter to have a kind and honest heart. The tree listened, its leaves rustling softly. A warm light enveloped Ralia, and she felt something magical stir within her. With a heart bursting with gratitude, she returned to her village, not realizing that her wish was only half heard. In time, Ralia's wish came true. She gave birth to a baby girl whom she named Amma. Amma was indeed beautiful, with eyes that sparkled like the clear blue sky after a storm and a smile that bloomed like the first flower of spring. The village rejoiced, for Ralia's happiness was their happiness. The whole village came to see Amma, and everyone agreed they had never seen a child so lovely. Ralia's heart swelled with pride, but as Amma grew, so did Ralia's worries. Amma was not just beautiful. She was the most beautiful girl in the village, but she was also as troublesome as a monkey stealing bananas. She told stories that weren't true, took things that weren't hers, and laughed when others would frown at what she did. Ralia taught her daughter about kindness and truth, but Amma didn't seem to listen. She was too busy admiring her reflection in the river or finding new ways to dodge her chores. The villagers started to whisper, and Ralia's heart felt heavy, like a rain cloud ready to burst. Her daughter was a gift, but her behavior was becoming a curse. As the sun climbed and dipped day after day, Amma grew taller and more beautiful, if that was even possible. But her heart did not grow kinder or more honest. Her beauty was like a bright lantern with a flickering light inside. The people in the village shook their heads, for Amma's beauty was now talked about with sad sighs. She didn't use her looks for good. Instead, she wandered into the shadows, where whispers and coin changed hands, and her choices led her down a path that made her mother weep. Ralia's heart was heavy, heavier than the biggest stone in the river. Her daughter had become a liar, a person who traded love for money, a person who could not see the beauty in a good day's work or the smile of a neighbor. Ralia tried everything to guide Amma, but it was like trying to hold on to water with open hands. In the midst of this, a prince came to the village. His eyes found Amma, and he couldn't look away. He saw her long hair, her perfect smile, and heard her laugh that sounded like a melody. He didn't see the sadness she brought her mother, or the trouble that seemed to dance around her. The prince, blinded by love or maybe just a wish to be with someone so beautiful, asked Amma to marry him. He wanted to take her to his palace to make her a princess. Ralia's eyes filled with tears, not of joy but of fear. Could this prince see the daughter she saw? Could his love change the path Amma was on? Amma said yes to the prince, her eyes shining not with love, but with the reflection of a future she thought would be as shiny as gold. Ralia felt a small hope, like a single star in the night sky, that maybe this was the answer to a wish she hadn't even known to make. Amma's life seemed ready to bloom like a rose in the prince's kingdom, but thorns were hidden beneath her beauty. She wore the prince's ring, but her heart wasn't true. Old habits clung to her like shadows, and one moonlit night, she slipped away from her prince's side. The guard, who had always smiled a little too long at Amma, met her outside the palace walls, and they made out. Their laughter was a whisper lost in the wind, but their betrayal was as loud as thunder when the morning came. The prince, with a heart turned heavy and cold, couldn't look at Amma. His dream of love shattered like glass under a boot. The palace that was to be her new home turned its back on her, and Amma returned to the village with eyes that couldn't meet anyone else's. Ralia's sadness was a river that couldn't be stopped. She walked to the wishing tree, her feet finding the old familiar path. "Why?" she cried to the tree. "I asked for a daughter, and you gave me sorrow." The tree listened with the patience of the ages. It rustled its leaves, and the wind carried its voice. "You wished for beauty," it said, "but you didn't wait for the full blessing. A good heart needs to be wished for with patience and care." Ralia's tears fell, feeding the roots of the tree. She had been in such a rush to have her wish granted that she hadn't stayed to finish it. Now she saw the price of a wish made in haste. Her daughter was as beautiful as a sunrise, but as lost as a star during the day. Ralia's eyes, blurred by tears, looked up at the wishing tree, whose leaves whispered softly. "Can anything be done?" she asked, her voice trembling like a leaf in the wind. The tree's branches swayed, and it spoke a truth as old as the earth. "There is one way to mend what has been torn. A sacrifice must be made for the heart to be reborn." Ralia's heart, which had known so much love and so much pain, didn't hesitate. "I will do it," she said. The love for her daughter shone in her eyes, brighter than any fear. "You understand." The tree's voice was a gentle rustle. "This means you will give up your tomorrow for her today?" With a nod that stirred the air, Ralia stepped forward. She thought of Amma's laughter as a child, the hope she had felt with every hug. She would give it all if it meant her daughter would live a life of kindness and honesty, a life that would make the village smile instead of frown. The tree's golden light glowed warmly, and as Ralia stepped into it, she whispered, "For my daughter's heart to be true, I give mine." The light swallowed her whole, and where Ralia stood, a flower bloomed at the base of the tree, its petals the color of dawn. It was a mother's final gift, her love the deepest magic, the kind that changes fate. The forest was silent, holding its breath as Ralia was taken by the tree. The animals, the birds, even the bugs felt the weight of her sacrifice. The spirits of the forest whispered among the leaves, carrying the tale of the mother who gave everything for her child. Amma woke to a world that seemed different. The air was still, the village quiet, and her heart, for the first time in a long while, felt heavy. She searched for Ralia, but found only an empty home, with a stillness that echoed too loudly. Days passed, and Amma's footsteps led her to the wishing tree. The villagers spoke of Ralia's sacrifice, a story that made Amma's heart ache in a way she couldn't understand. She saw the flower, with petals of soft light, and a truth settled in her. Amma sat under the tree, the place where her life had begun with a wish. Her beauty had always been a shield, but now it felt like a shell, empty and hollow. She thought of her mother's smile, her warm hands, and the love in her eyes. For the first time, Amma saw her reflection not in water or a mirror, but in the memories of her actions, the lies, the theft, the choices that now seem so ugly. She realized that her beauty was nothing without a heart to match it. The transformation didn't happen in a moment, but each day, Amma tried to be better, to be the daughter Ralia had hoped for. With every good deed, her heart felt a little less heavy, and the beauty inside her began to match the beauty that everyone could see. As the seasons changed, so did Amma. She worked hard to mend the wrongs she had done, to weave kindness into her days. The villagers saw the change, like a desert blooming after a long-awaited rain. Amma's beauty was now a mirror of her heart, and her actions spoke louder than the whispers of her past. She cared for the young and respected the old. She shared what she had and looked for no reward other than the warmth it brought to her heart. The son of the wealthiest man in the village noticed Amma, not for the curve of her smile, but for the generosity in her spirit and the truth in her eyes. He saw the strength in her hands from helping others and the laughter that now carried joy instead of carelessness. Their love grew, not from a wish, but from shared moments and mutual respect. When they married, it was not just a union of two hearts, but a celebration of a journey. Amma didn't just become a wife, she became a beacon of hope. The village no longer spoke of her as just a beautiful girl, but as a woman of virtue. They remembered Ralia, whose love had been so strong it reshaped the fate of her daughter. And so, the story of Ralia and Amma became a tale told from one generation to the next, a reminder of the power of patience, the virtue of a good heart, and the endless reach of a mother's love. It was Ralia's legacy, living on in her daughter's actions, a legacy that turned a wish into a blessing for all who knew the tale. The lesson to be learned from this story is that patience and virtue are the truest forms of beauty, and a mother's love has the power to transform and redeem. Also, when you wish or pray for something, be specific so you won't end up like Ralia, who had a half-heard wish come true. I hope you enjoyed this captivating story. If you learned a lesson from it, please smash that like button and don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel for more engaging stories like this one.